So let's do a little review real quick. What is a variable? Go ahead and type it into the chat when you can tell me what a variable is. Not quite something that changes. Not quite something that measures, but you guys are kind of on the right track. Okay. Hayden, you're pretty close. Something that you're able to change. Okay. Ooh, I like your definition, Liam. Let's put that up here. Okay, a variable is something. Oops, let's fix that. Something used in an experiment that can be changed and be measured. Okay, I like that. So a variable is something that is in an experiment that can either be changed or measured. Okay, so I would write that down if you don't have that somewhere. Okay, write this down if you write that down somewhere if you don't have it. A variable is something that is used in an experiment that can either be changed, that can be changed and be measured. So then I'm going to ask you, what is an independent variable? What is an independent variable? Dominic, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay, let's just change that a little bit. Oopsies. I'm just struggling today. All right, so an independent variable is something that can be changed to affect something else. Okay, so go ahead and add that to your notes. If you want to write in your science notebook, write it in your science notebook, stick it on a sticky note, stick it on your computer, stick it on your desk, I don't know, somewhere where you will never forget this again. Because you're going to be using it a couple times here in the next couple days. All right, what is a dependent variable? Okay, I like a little bit what Melanie says. It depends on the outcome based on the other variables. Okay, that's true. It's what we're measuring, definitely what we're measuring. Very good. All right, so I like your guys' definitions. Okay, the dependent variable is the variable that's being measured and that depends on the independent variable. Okay, this is what we're testing to see the results. Yesterday, you went through some notes and you looked at this really cool simulation right here. Okay, and you got to play around with it. And there's this really weird looking cannon, and there's this weird statue guy in his boxers, and then there's this target on the ground over here, and then there's this speed controller here, and then we could do cannon or mass, diameter. I would try to resist messing with gravity because we're here on Earth and this is the gravity on Earth and it's just easier just not to mess with it. Do like a tank shell, and if we shoot it, look, get this weird little thing right here. Or we can shoot a piano if we wanted. Just kind of funny. Okay, whatever we wanted, right? You got to play with this. So the object was to use this simulation and come up with a lab, okay? Something that you can test, okay? If you want to hit the guy, you can try to hit the guy. Let's see, can we try to hit the guy? I mean, that was pretty darn close if you ask me. Let's see how big we can make our cannonball. Okay. If we change it to the piano, I bet we hit him. All right. So it was totally up to you what you wanted to do. Okay. So you were asked when you were looking at this assignment, was your assignment yesterday, is you were supposed to come up with a title, the purpose, hypothesis, introduction, and answer these questions. Okay. And you are supposed to use this lab in order to do that. So in order to do that, what was the first thing you should have figured out? What do you think the first thing you should have figured out was? Mass, push. Okay, what are those things that you were naming? A mass or the cannon position? What are those? A variable, right? Exactly. You needed to figure out what your variables were. Okay, so I would like to figure out what are my variables. I need an independent variable and I need a dependent variable. So what variable can I change? Well, I can change my angle of my cannon. I can change the speed in which my item shoots out of the cannon, right? I can change the mass of my object. I can change the diameter of my object, okay? And I really kind of noticed that, you know, when I was playing with it, no matter what, wow, that was really far. No matter what I shot out of my cannon, it was still going to go the same distance, right? And it's mainly because the mass and the diameter and all that stuff remains the same. So, okay, so it didn't really matter what I put in here. All right, so realistically, we are messing with our angle, our initial speed, and our mass and our diameter, right? So those are independent variables. Am I going to want to change multiple independent variables? No, right? That's too hard to try to figure out what my results are going to be if I'm constantly changing multiple things at once, right? It is better to just change one thing at a time. So I know that I am going to only change one thing. So I am just going to change, maybe I'm just going to change my initial speed. Okay, for me, that makes sense. I'm going to leave my angle here. My angle is at, it says 80 degrees. And so I'm just going to slide my initial speed and I'm going to make I'm going to throw a pumpkin because it's Halloween, close to Halloween. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to decide, okay, look, I have this really cool thing. I can decide a couple things. I can maybe do time as my dependent variable. Maybe I can do my height, Or maybe I can do range. So I'm not quite sure so I need to figure out what my dependent variable is going to be, right? What do I want to measure? Can I do all three of them if I wanted? Yeah, absolutely. I definitely could do all three. Why could I do all three if I was only doing one independent? Why could I do all three? Yeah, exactly, because they are all dependent on the one thing that I change. Very good. So I'm just going to start with changing my initial speed to 15, and I'm going to shoot my cannon or shoot my pumpkin. Okay, and my pumpkin lands right there. All right, see this little green dot? That is exactly at the top. Okay, so I can decide, okay, am I going to measure there or am I going to measure here? But wherever I decide to measure, I want to do it at the exact same spot every single time. So if I decide that I want to measure, take my readings at the top of the crest of the arch every single time, then that is where I'm going to take that measurement every single time. If I decide I'm going to take it down here every single time, then I'm going to take that measurement right there every single time. Okay? You need to be consistent. If I decided I just want to do the distance, okay, then I can just use the measuring tape if I wanted and just bring it like this, and that'll just tell me the distance. Or I could use this, okay, and it tells me the range, okay, from there to there. Or I can do it from here, okay, so then this gives me height and how far over. So I could figure out a lot from there. Okay, does this making sense? All right. So that's what I meant when I said you can pick the experiment that you were doing, not picking candy and bubble gum or something along those lines, but using this simulation to figure out what your independent variable is going to be, your dependent variable. If you want to have multiple dependent variables, you can, whatever you would like to do, but you should only have one dependent or independent variable. Okay, so what you're going to do today is you're going to go back and you're going to rework this assignment right here. Okay, when you're done, I put a new assignment in today's lesson, and this is what it is. You're going to tell me what your independent variable is. Okay, you can tell me what your dependent variable or variables are. Then you can copy your purpose, hypothesis, and introduction, this stuff from your other assignment. You can copy and paste it over. Okay, right here is where you are going to put in a data table. To put in a data table, you go up here to insert table, and then you can select the size of your table. Okay, then you'll follow the directions for your analysis, and then this is where you'll make a graph. So you can make a graph, and you can draw it. Make sure if you hand draw it, it looks nice and neat. You use a ruler. Okay, if you do online, you can do online, that's okay. Just make sure you put it in here. Then you're going to do your conclusion, and here are some tips that I included on writing a conclusion. Okay, make sure that you look at the rubric. So if you look at here, when you are looking here, I included the rubric on which you are being graded on for this assignment. So you can look. In order to get a 4 on your conclusion, this is what you need to do: a 3, a 2, a 1, a 0. Okay, so I suggest you use your rubric. in order to help you write this assignment. This assignment is not due today. We are going to work on it today. You're going to do a little bit of it tomorrow. We're going to work on it on Thursday, and you will finish it on Friday. That is more than enough time for you to get this done really nice and neat. Okay? Are there any questions? All right. So when you are stuck, do you sit there and not ask any questions? No. Good. If you're stuck, do you ask me questions and I help you? Good. I don't want to see anybody not working. All right? I know you guys can all do this. You guys are amazing. Caught up in the same mistakes. You catch my fall when I fall on my face.